Hello. So, welcome to this course, Bootstrap CSS Framework for Beginners. I am really hyped and excited about this course. So, let's get started quickly. All right, so who is this course for? This course is for complete newbies or beginners with CSS frameworks, right? So probably you have learned CSS, you know the bare fundamentals and all that stuff, but you haven't really used a typical CSS framework before. So you want to understand, what goes into it, what are frameworks, how do they work, how can I use it to make my development flow more productive and efficient, right? So this course is for you. And then also people who probably have some experience with frameworks already, but then you want to sort of typically understand how Bootstrap works. This course is also for you as well. Now the objectives for this course, we are going to learn the basic building blocks of Bootstrap. Okay, and Bootstrap is a very popular framework, so learning it gives you a whole lot of fundamentals to be able to learn other CSS frameworks as well, and we'll get into it later in this section. Also, I'm going to show you how to go through the Bootstrap documentation, how to find stuff that you are looking for in a framework. The Bootstrap documentation is basically your best friend most of the time. All right, so it's very necessary to know how to search for things, how to look for things here and there in the documentation. So we are going to tackle that too as well. Also, we are going to do something super exciting. We are going to build like a simple portfolio site, something very simple. Okay, just to give you a grasp of the fundamentals that you learn. And we are not going to stress ourselves too much about the design or building something so complicated, right? I'm assuming we are beginning. Okay, so nothing complicated. We are going to clone an existing website. Okay, try to see what is going on there and then try to apply that in our portfolio site. Okay, and then also I'm going to take you through a little bit of how you can deploy your site on Netlify, right? It's a free hosting platform where you can deploy your website on. Okay, so I'll show you how to create your account over there and then how to upload your files. It's very easy and straightforward. Okay, and then you get your link that you can share. So essentially, this course is going to be super exciting. We're going to have a lot of fun, and by the end of the course, you'd have your own website somewhere online. All right, so I mean, let's not take this for granted at all. So join me and then let's go on. So what you will need for this course, you should have already watched the intro to HTML, CSS and JavaScript course on the channel. It's very important. If you haven't learned them, you haven't gone through the videos, please pause this video, go back and then make sure you learn them, master them. Take some time, spend some time over there to practice before you get here. Else this course will be very tricky for you. It may be confusing for you and all, because we are taking our CSS and our HTML to the next level. All right, so the basics are very important. You also need a laptop with internet connectivity. We'll be doing a whole lot of online stuff, viewing things online. Also, do make sure that you have some decent internet connectivity. And then, like we always say, you need to have the willingness to keep practicing and playing around with what is taught. I mean, that is your backbone as a developer. So don't skip that. Don't just watch the videos and then put it somewhere, then you think you are done, right? You have to practice what is being taught in the course. You have to play around with values, experiment on your own and all. That is what will make you succeed in this course. All right, and these are the tools I'll be using to teach you. Basically, Visual Studio Code, right? This is an IDE, an editor, a very interesting and lovely editor. It's very popular these days, right? So I show you how to get it in previous videos, right? So if you have Visual Studio Code, that's okay. And if you prefer other editors, that's fine as well. All right, there are so many editors out there, but I will be using Visual Studio Code, right? There's Notepad++, there's WebStorm, there's a whole lot out there. Okay, so just use whichever works for you, whichever you are comfortable with, and I'm sure we'll be good to go. So just a quick one. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please pause this video right now, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification button. You know, we this course materials that we give are for free, and then subscribing to the channel helps support us, right? We drop weekly videos, programming videos and full-length courses on a weekly basis. All right, and then we are also coming up with a whole lot of career advice for you, a beginner developer, guidelines and tips and then all that stuff. And our courses are stuffed with a whole lot of advice and tips and strategies on how to make your development path and your progression a successful one. Okay, so please do well to subscribe. Okay, so what is a CSS framework? All right, so basically when you hear a CSS framework, what it means is that it's a collection of styles that are ready to use. All right, so if you've developed your own CSS or built your own websites without frameworks, you know that there are lots of styles that you have to write on your own, right? Styles for your buttons, styles for your forms, styles for your layout, and styles for all the components of your website, right? What a CSS framework does is that all these styles and styling have been pre-written for you. All right, so basically what you do is to simply include these styles in your website, right, through various classes. All right, take it like the way we have a JavaScript plugin, right, where you can just include a plugin of some functionality into your site and then begin to use it. It's the same thing like CSS framework. Okay, so it's sort of, you include it in your project and you get to use the various styles that have been made available for you, right? One very nice thing about CSS frameworks that make it popular is that they do a whole lot of things for you out of the box. Okay, so immediately you start programming, you don't have to worry too much about layout and responsiveness and all that. You don't have to do everything from scratch. It's all been done for you, so all you have to do is to plug and play, and then we'll go through it and see how it works. All right, and there are so many types of CSS frameworks available. This course we are going to tackle Bootstrap, right? But there's Tailwind CSS, which is also a very popular framework. And in fact, once you learn Bootstrap, it's very easy to pick up all these other frameworks, right? There's Tailwind, there's Materialize, there's Balma.io. There's a whole lot out there, right? Bootstrap has been there for the longest, okay, for over a decade, right? So it's really popular, and it has an amazing community, has an amazing support. It's super easy to find solutions to issues when it comes to Bootstrap, relatively as compared to the others, right? So because Bootstrap has been there for a whole long time, right? So that is why we are tackling Bootstrap first. And then also another benefit of CSS framework is that it helps with standardizing development with teams. So let's just say you are in a team of developers where it's not just you working on a project, right? Now, because you are using a framework like Bootstrap, everything is standard, right? Nobody can just get up and write any class name that they want, or nobody can just get up and do things in a certain way, right? Because Bootstrap has done the work of making all these things available, right? So it reduces a whole lot of conflicts when it comes to designing the front end and writing CSS rules, because everyone on the team is sort of following a set framework that has been structured, okay, by whatever you are using, and in our case Bootstrap. Okay, so Bootstrap says that the class name is BG color, for example. BG color is what is going to be used, or co is what is going to be used. Co is a class name, you can't change it. Okay, that kind of flow. Okay, so it really makes things easy when you are working together in a team. All right, and there are some very core components of every CSS framework, right? We have the grid and the layout. The grid and the layout is probably one of the most important parts of a CSS framework, right? Because that is what you use to structure the entire website, how it looks on different screen sizes. Okay, so the grid and layout components of it is very important, and with Bootstrap in this course, we are going to tackle that at the first thing, understanding how you can lay out different website, like a 3-column website, 2-column, start grow and all that stuff. We are going to tackle all that. There's a whole lot you can do. Unfortunately, we cannot cover everything, but once you get the fundamentals, extending it becomes very, very easy, and it's just a matter of your creativity. All right, now frameworks also come with styles and classes for images, tables. If you have to style your own table, you are going to write a number of CSS rules, right? But these frameworks have already done all that for you, so you just have to include and add those classes, typography, things like accordions, buttons and all that. The code you write is very less, okay? But the other thing too is that though they have written these styles for you, it's easy to sort of override them, okay? So maybe Bootstrap's green button is not something that you really like. You can easily overwrite it into something something that looks better to you, okay, while still maintaining some of Bootstrap styles. Okay, so you realize that you wouldn't have to be writing a whole lot of things from scratch, right? And media queries and responsive breakpoints. So how does your site look on small screen sizes? How does it look on big screen sizes? What are the difference? Okay, these frameworks also make it very easy to do that. And then also the utilities, backgrounds, colors, display, and then all that. So there's a whole lot going on, right? But in this course, I try to focus as much as possible on the stuff that you need to get going. All right, I'm not going to pour all that on you. In fact, the documentation is very extensive. We are not going to exhaust everything in this course, but we rest assured that once you are done with this course, you'd have an understanding and know how to go around things, and you should be able to build very, very simple websites, even extending from there. If you are practicing more, you can do more complicated websites. So it's going to be a really, really fun journey. All right, so let's get to it to start practicing. We are going to talk about how you set up Bootstrap in your project. We're going to go through how to read the Bootstrap docs, and then we're going to play around with the Bootstrap grid and layout system. All right, and do a little bit of customizations here and there, give you an idea of how it works. Then we go on to our project. Okay, so let's get to it right away. Okay, so before we get started, I'm going to pop up my Visual Studio Code over here, right? And I'm going to create a new folder for our test project. Okay, so I'll say testing Bootstrap, okay, where we'll just play around with some of the basic stuff that I talked about. So I'll save that. So testing Bootstrap right here. Okay, and then I'm going to create index.html, right? And I'll create an index.css file. Okay, right. So now we have our project set up. Okay, let me close this, right? So now what we do is that we go to the Bootstrap website, okay, the documentation. So I can just Google Bootstrap right here, okay, and then get Bootstrap. So this is the landing page. Over here you see we have the latest version, that is 5.2. okay, all these things are just stuff that you can read around. Okay, nothing we need now. So this is why I'm interested in docs, right? So I go to the docs. All right, perfect. So in the docs we have the how you can get started with Bootstrap. Okay, so quick start, we have get started by including Bootstrap's production ready CSS and JavaScript via CDN without a need for any build steps. All right, also we can sort of like include Bootstrap in our project without having to download the files manually, the JS files manually. So it's easy when you do it that way. All right, and then they've already given us some starter templates, right? This is one thing that makes frameworks very, very easy to use. Okay, they do a whole lot for you. Okay, so what we are going to do is I'm going to copy this startup template into our project. All right, and then I'm going to take you through what is going on over there. All right, so let's get to it. So I'll copy this, right? There's also the copy over here. You can just click copy to clipboard right there. All right, so I go back and then let's go to our project, right? And then index.html, and then I paste it right here. Okay, so this is our project, very easy. So basically this is the fundamental of including Bootstrap in your projects. With this, you are good to go. Okay, so let's see what is going on here. So over here we have, let me just add some spacing over here so that this is sort of separated, make it easy for us to absorb whatever is going on. Okay, so over here we have some meta here, child F8, right, which we talked about in an HTML course, and we have the meta name viewport. Okay, so this sets the basis for responsiveness, right? So content width is equal to device width. That is the initial device width. That's the initial screen width of whatever device is being viewed on. This is very important for Bootstrap, right? This is the title. All right, let me add some spaces here so that we get to see what's going on here. All right, now this is the Bootstrap CDN link. Okay, so this allows us to include the Bootstrap domain.css right in our project without having to download the file manually. Okay, so if you go back to their documentation, you can see that over here, CDN links. Okay, so we have the JS here, and we have the CSS here as well. Okay, so you can include that. Okay, but then they've done that in the template, so we just copied and then we pasted it right there. Okay, so that's the CSS file, and this is the JavaScript file. Okay, the JavaScript library, Bootstrap library, we've also included it over here, just like what we did for the CSS file. Okay, so I mean, basically this is it. Right now, if you have to use other libraries, like jQuery and all that, you can include all of that here as well. Okay, but I think for now we are going to stick to this. So now we are going to test to see whether our Bootstrap is working actually. All right, so let's add a simple Bootstrap class over here to the let me just first load this page first so that you see how it looks as it is now, right? So I'll right click on the index.html, and then I'll click on open in default browser, right? Note that this functionality is provided by a certain extension called so you come here, extensions, and then you look for open in browser. Sorry, open in browser. Yeah, it's right here. Okay, so you can install this extension. All right, so this extension allows you to launch files in your browser without having to do manual stuff. Okay, so I right click on it and I click open in default browser. Okay, so I have my hello world here, right? So now let's add some let's add a basic Bootstrap style class to it. So class is let's make it bg dark, and then let's save it. Okay, let's go back to our page, right, and then we reload it. Okay, so we have bg dark over here, so that's background dark. All right, so like we said, these classes have already been defined by Bootstrap. Okay, so if we go back to the site, we right click on it and then click inspect. All right, in our styles, you see that we have bg dark, right, background color that, okay, which has been defined over here. Okay, so Bootstrap has already defined that. All we have to do is to sort of include it. All right, now we can have something like let's say bg primary. Okay, this is also a Bootstrap class, so it's really about learning all the classes available to you. Okay, so you see we have bg primary that give us a blue color, and we've done this and we've not written a single line of CSS yet. You get it? Okay, so we know our Bootstrap is working now, right? We've included that, so I'm going to remove this. Okay, and then we'll go back to the documentation to learn some very important stuff over there. Sorry, so let's go to the Bootstrap side. Okay, so now we have included Bootstrap in our projects. We didn't have to do so much, right? We won't waste our time to go through all these. These are more advanced stuff. Okay, that as you go along in your career, in your development, you can go there. It talks about Webpack, modeling, and all that stuff, which that is not what we need now, right? So we'll jump straight to the layout. All right, so you can also spend some time to go through the color, see what they have, the Bootstrap color. So we have primary, we just used bg primary, we have bg success, bg danger, all that stuff. All these are Bootstrap colors that are available. All right, so let's go to layout section, then we go to breakpoints. Okay, so Bootstrap, there's something called the breakpoint. These are very, very important aspects to understand about Bootstrap. Okay, so we have breakpoints from small to extra large. SM, MD, LG, XL, XXL. Okay, so anywhere you see SM, okay, it means that this particular thing is applying to screen widths which are greater or equal to 576 pixels. Okay, so these come in very handy when you are building responsive layout. Anytime you see MD, it means you are telling Bootstrap that, hey, if it's on a screen size that is greater than this particular dimension, apply this. If it's on a screen size greater than this dimension, apply that. Okay, so we have SM, MD, LG, XL, XXL. All right, so you don't need to manually try to keep everything by rote. As you practice more and more, they will come very, very naturally, like sort of muscle memory. Okay, so don't worry too much about that. So these are the breakpoints, and then also media queries, right? Ignore these. Okay, these are SAS and stuff like that, but this is what we are interested in. Okay, so these media queries over here, they help you to sort of write specific styles for different types of screens. All right, if you took the CSS course, you realize that we did something little about small responsiveness. Okay, so if you have some styles, let's say on mobile screen sizes, you want the color to be black instead of green, or stuff like that, you can you can use this style. So by we have at media main width 576 pixels. So what we are saying is that if the minimum width of the screen size is 576 above, apply these styles. If it is this, apply these styles, right? We also have max width and max width media queries as well. Yeah, so I mean, don't worry about this. Okay, just keep it in mind that we have something like this available. In the course of this lesson, I'll be taking you through some of them. Right now, I just want to show you, give you an idea of how to go through the docs. All right. Now, another very important thing about Bootstrap is the containers. These are like the fundamental building blocks of Bootstrap. Okay. So for containers, we have the container SM, container MD, container LG, and all that stuff. So basically what we are saying is that when we give a div a class of container, right, we are saying that when it's on an extra small device, have a width of 100%. Okay, when it's above 576, have a width of that. When it's medium, and so like there are different breakpoints. Okay, when you have container MD, that also behaves differently as well. All right, so these are like some ways that you can apply containers. So I want us to quickly jump through the container concepts, all right, because since they are like very, very key points. Okay, see how these containers work. All right, so I am going to quickly clone this, right? Open this somewhere else on my screen, okay, so that I can be able to refer to it and then know that we are on track. Okay, all right, so let's go back to our code, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a div, right, container, okay, and then I'm going to put some text over here, right? So let's go back to our site, and then we go to lipsum.com where we can get some dummy text and stuff like that. So I'm just going to copy this, right? Okay, and I'll come to paste it over here. Perfect. Okay, this is quite long, right? This is quite long. I mean, bear with me. We're just going to try things out. Okay, so I'll save it and I'll go back to our demo. Okay, now let me save it. Okay, so this is the container, right? Let me see whether we can give this a background. BG, let's say primary, or let's use another one, BG success, right? And then let's reload. Okay, so this is the container, right? Now let's try the other container. Instead of this container, let's try container SM. Okay, right? So container SM, let's see how that also looks. Okay, so container SM is sort of similar, because then because we are not on a very big screen size, right, we can't see the differences when they are actually when the differences pop up when you are going on bigger screen sizes. So for now, you realize that container and container SM are actually the same, but then on larger screen sizes, you'd realize that there will be some slight differences here and there. All right, now let's try instead of SM, let's try, let's say, another one, maybe container LG. Okay, let's see how that also looks. Right. Okay, so it's sort of the same, okay, because of the screen size that we are on, right? Most of the differences begin to show up when you're on larger screen sizes, right? Let's try container Excel, sorry. Okay, that also looks the same. Let's try container fluid, for example. All right. Okay, so you realize that container fluid has come all the way to the edges of the screen. All right, so some of these styles, some of these classes, sorry, you only see the how different they are as you go to larger screen sizes, right? Unfortunately, my screen size is just a laptop screen size, so you can't always see the differences as much. All right, so but like this is something key that you have to take note of. So typically in Bootstrap, most of the time you end up playing with container, or container MD or container fluid if you want the thing to stretch across the entire screen. All right, so this is something that you should really take note of. All right, so this is the container. All right, so let's go on to other building blocks of Bootstrap. Okay, so now let's go back to the docs, right? And then we go to grid. Okay, the Bootstrap grid is like it's so important, like so important. Okay, so that is what will help us know how to build 3 columns or 4 columns or 5 columns or whatever layout that we have in mind. All right, so over here, all right, so use our powerful mobile first flexbox grid. Okay, so the Bootstrap grid was built with Flexbox, right, to build layouts of all shapes and sizes. Thanks to a 12-column system, 6 default responsive tiers, and SAS variables and all that stuff, right? So the Bootstrap grid system is a 12-column grid system. Okay, so what do we mean by that? It means in a container, right, we have something called a row. Okay, so there's an entire container and there are rows of columns, so you can have multiple rows of columns. Right now, the maximum number of columns you can have on a row is 12. Okay, so let's quickly go there and then see how that works. All right, so I'm going to delete this. Okay, just going to make it div.container, right, and then I'll type div.row. Sorry, this is supposed to be row. Okay, right, and then we'll have div.col. Let's just start with col. Let's say col, right? Just col, and then I'm going to copy and paste the some of our dummy text over here. This time around, I'm not going to copy or just a little. Let me say this, right, or maybe up to here. Okay, yeah, all right. Let's go back and let's paste that over here. Right, I'm going to make this BG let's say primary, for example. Okay, let's go back to our site and see what's going on there. Right, so we reload it. Now you realize that the column has sort of extended to the entire end of the container right here. Okay, so let me give the container a BG of danger. Okay, so that a background of red, so that we see what's going on. Okay, so it's sort of like extended to the entire background of the container, right? So let's add another one column over here. Okay, so another BG primary. Let's go back, let's reload. Okay, so you realize that now we have 2 columns over here. All right, okay, so we can even make this 3 instead of 2. Let's just make it 3. All right, let's add that and then let's reload. Okay, so we have 3. Now you realize that it seems as if they are all like sort of joining each other or something like that. Okay, so let's bring some spacing over there. Let's remove these BG primaries. Okay, just so you see what is happening without the background. All right, so we see that. Okay, so that is the red background of the container. So let me remove the red background of the container as well, the parent element as well. Okay, so you see we have a 3-column something over here. All right, now we can create another row. Okay, so this means that, hey, come to the next line, right? Okay, so you see we have another one over here, and then we can create as many as we want. We can even create another one like this, right? Okay, then we have another one. So you realize that as you close the screen, they shrink. Now one thing you realize is that over here we are using code, right? In Bootstrap, this code says that, hey, take whatever space is left in the row. Okay, so if it's only one element, if it's only one column in the row, it will take the full 12 size, right? If it is 3, they will split it 4, 4, 4, right? If it is 4, they will split it 3, 3, 3. Okay, in that order. Alright, so that's how the row works. Now we can sort of add some color and all that stuff to it. Okay, to our columns. You know, this our text is quite too long, right? It's quite too long. Okay, but we can still say div dot let's say bg primary. Okay, and then let's put our text right there. Then we say maybe p3. Okay. Okay, so we say, right, div class is equal to bg primary. Sorry, I have to type this, so bg primary, right, p3. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing for this one too as well. Okay, so alt w div class is equal to bg. I don't know why I keep typing the bg primary outside. p3. Yeah, okay, right. So let's go back to our page and see what's going on there now. Okay, so you realize now we've been able to differentiate the columns, right? Now we can do something like maybe a row, div.row. Okay, say maybe div.co md12, right? So you remember, let's go back to the Bootstrap documentation, right? So you remember we talked about the breakpoints, right, where we have md, lg, and all that. Now when you come to the grade, okay, we have at the grade options section, right, we have the xs, sm, md, lg, xl, xsl, right? So when we say co md, right, we are telling Bootstrap that, hey, if the screen size is greater or equal to 768 pixels, make this column size 4, or make it 3, or make it 2, or make it 1, right? And usually for MD laptop sizes, you know, like the screen I'm doing the tutorial on, most of the laptop sizes fall within this range, right? So if I say core MD, I can say core MD12. So if I say core MD12, I mean that anything above the laptop size, make it a laptop screen size, or anything above 768 pixels or equal to 768 pixels, make it core MD, right? Now with core MD, usually what you realize is that even as you shrink the screen, it takes 100% of the screen size. Okay, so over here I can say, I can bring on H1 and say, hello, this is my website. Okay, now we are just using BG, right, as a way to be adding quick colors, right? So BG success. Then let's see what happens here. So let's go back to our Bootstrap demo. Okay, and then let's reload. Okay, so hello, this is my website. All right, so this is a very nice something that we are already doing. If I should make this container fluid right here, then it means that it will extend to the length of the screen. Okay, it will go end to end to the screen. All right, so this is something that you should take note of. So I hope at this point you are getting an idea of the Bootstrap grid. You know, let's quickly recap that. Okay, so we have the container. In the container we have the row, and in the row we have the columns, right? The columns, we can have something like even on the first row we can have, say, MD4, right? MD4. Now always know that these sizes have to sum up to 12. If they sum up to something greater than 12, they will sort of drop to the next line. So you see over here, because this is 4 4 and this is 5, this one being a size of 5 drops to the next line. Okay, so you always make sure that your columns are summing up to 12. All right, so hello, this is my website. Hello, this is my website. Hello, this is my website. Okay, so let's go through the Bootstrap docs more to see some of the other things that we have. All right, so we've talked about co SM, co MD, co LG. You can play around with that to see how they play together. Okay, over here we have the container, we have the row, we have the class of co and another class of co. Right now, because this one and this one are just 2, all right, you realize that they've taken the 4 way. This has taken half, this has taken half. Over here, because there are 3, okay, this has taken a portion, this one has taken a portion, this one has taken a portion, so 3 of 3. So they've split the 12 4 4 4. All right, and then also there's a way to set one column with co6. For example, if you say something like co6, I mean, what you are trying to say is that no matter the size of the screen, it should take up 6, a width of 6. Okay, so it will always take up like double, all right, the rest. Okay, because we have 12 and one is taking up 6, so it means that the rest will take up 3 3, right? So this is something that you should also know of. And then we have variable content, and how to align the content in the columns and then all that stuff with deflex. We'll be going through this as we do our project, okay? But now just know that there's a whole lot going here. In fact, the basic stuff are what we've discussed, right? So we have the co SM8 here, we have the co SM4 over here, we have the this, you can sort of mix and match it. We can combine some of the values here and there. We have row columns and all that. So there's a whole lot going over here, but then that shouldn't scare you. So what we are going to do now, we are going to create a simple layout of like the typical website. All right, like where we have the header would have like maybe 2 columns, right? And then we'll have like maybe a sidebar or something like that. Okay, just to get us going and give us an idea of what we are working on. Okay, so to start with, I'm just going to clear this. Okay, let's just start on a clean slate. Okay, so I'm going to create something I like to call a jumbotron. Okay, jumbotron is like it's sort of like it's just this CSS class, this Bootstrap class that gives you some container, some baseline container, right, which can extend to the ends of the screen. Okay, so I'll say my jumbotron is a background color of let's say danger. Okay, in my jumbotron I'll have a container fluid. Okay, so in my container fluid I can have a div.row. Okay, and in my div.row I'll have a div.co md12. Okay, in my co md12 I'll say welcome to my website. Oh, let me just say in my co md12 I'll have like an h3. I'll say welcome to my website. Okay, so let's save this and go back to our tutorial and see. Okay, so we have welcome to my website. So you realize that this has extended end to end. Okay, this is the jumbotron that I was talking about. Okay, so we can give even the jumbotron a bigger padding. There's a utility in Bootstrap called p, so that gives you a padding of this value all around. Okay, so you see we have that over here, very easy, and we have still not gone into CSS just yet. You realize how amazing this is. So we can inspect this and see what is going on here. So we see we have Jumbo, BG Danger, P3. Okay, so the P3 over here is applying a padding of 1 REM over here on the jumbotron. Okay, so you see, so this P3 is a class that was defined by Bootstrap, and that class is actually doing this. So we have P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, and they are all components that you can find in the Bootstrap grid. Okay, so anytime you want to do something with Bootstrap, you can try googling it to make sure that they haven't already defined the classes there for you. Okay, so that you don't have to like do double work all the time. Okay, all right, so this is basically what's going on. So let's add another row, right? Div.row. Okay, so we want to come, sorry, this has to come here, div.row. Okay, and then let's have like a div.co.md. let's say we'll make it co.md8. okay, so it should take up a space of 8. So we say div.bg warning. Okay, and we'll say h3, right? Some contents over here, right? In fact, let's go grab our lorem ipsum text, okay, which is very long, but then I think we need it in this scenario. So I'll grab that, and then I'll put that here. Okay, all right, and let's go back to our demo and see what we have. Okay, so we have lorem ipsum here. Okay, so what we've done here is I have put this in the jumbotron, right, which is not what I wanted to do. Okay, so I'm going to have to remove this row and bring it out into its own container, sort of. So I can say div.container, right, fluid over here, right, and I can start a div.row. So you realize that it's basically just about rows and columns and your layout. That's basically all your site. Okay, so it's very easy. So it's about manipulating these things to give the look that you are looking for, right? So we can have it out like this. Okay, so this is 8, right? We can add another one, let's say 4. Copy this, make this 4. Then we'll make this, let's say bg dark, right? Okay, this can be our sidebar, right, for example. Okay, so we have our sidebar here. Let's make this class, let's give this a class of text white. Okay, I don't know why this always goes out like that. So a class of text white. Okay, so let's go back, see. Okay, so this is what is going on. So you realize that we can go on and on with this layout. Okay, we can give this, let's say mt5, that is a margin top of a certain value. Okay, right, so that separates it out for that. So you see, we can go on and on with this particular design. Let me add another h3 here, to bring the effect more. So let's reload. So you see, so we can lay out anything that we want very easily, and with all that we are doing, we have still not gone into CSS yet, right? So there's a whole lot of flexibility. Now you realize that as you shrink your screen, now look at what happens. Okay, so the other one automatically drops to the next line, okay, and it fills the entire space, right? Okay, so this we said co.md, right? Co.md8, co.md4. So anytime it drops below co.md, okay, then it's no longer co.md4 anymore. Now it's gone into the SM zone, right? So with that, it goes to 100% width. Okay, so there are various ways we can control this as well. So this is like understanding how this grid works is very important, and it's actually very basic. We have the row, we have the container, we have the row, we have the co. Okay, we have the jumbotron is like a hack, right, that I use to sort of give the end-to-end design. But if you don't want anything end-to-end, you can just go with your container fluid and all that stuff. Very straightforward, nothing too complicated, right? So it's just about arranging your columns and your rows and all that stuff to give the desired effect that you want, right? So now that we have gone through the grid a little, let's quickly apply it in our main course project, all right, which is building the our personal portfolio website, a very simple site, right? So this is the website we'll be building, something very simple, right? This website, portfolio website, belongs to a guy called Mike McAllister, right? He's a developer, I believe. And I just came across his site and I saw that, hey, this is like really simple and cool, and I feel like we can use it for our project, right? We won't go too much in detail into some of the design. For example, over here at this side, we will not bother too much about the icons, right? Because these are things you can easily add. We are going to focus mostly on just the layout. The layout is the most important thing. Over here, we are going to see how this was achieved. We're going to do this section by section thing, this blue section. We are going to add our image over there, and put this center like this. Over here, instead of this, we are going to put an actual navigation bar over here, all right, just for the purpose of, just for educational purposes, right? We are going to put an actual navigation bar over here so that you know how we can put a navigation bar with Bootstrap right here. Okay, see how we can style that, at least make it look a little bit like this, not too far off. Okay, and then also we will not copy the text exactly like so, right? We are going to make some adjustments because I mean, it's not right to just copy everything verbatim like that. So you can customize this way, as you follow along, you can customize this with whatever text that you want to use there. About me, maybe we'll use some lorem ipsum, or sort of copy this a little, just a tiny little, all right, to see how that works. We are going to use this image over here, okay, but please make sure that you do not copy this as your work. This is not your work, this is somebody's work, all right. We are just going to clone it for educational purposes, all right. So if you have a screenshot of some of your works you've done, we will see how we can put that over here. We are going to also lay this out a little, okay, section by section till we get to the end. So this will be an interesting journey, but once you understand the concept of the Bootstrap grid, you realize that it's very, very easy to lay this this particular page out. Okay, so let's get started with it right away. Okay, so over here I've created a new folder here called portfolio, right? This is where our new portfolio website files will be. This is just a one-page website, so very simple. So I'll create a new file, name it index.html, right? And then I'll create another file, I'll name it index.css, okay, because we'll be doing some customizations too over there as well. All right, so let's go back to the Bootstrap site. I'll close this, right? And then let's go back to the getting started, right? And then let's go and copy our starter template right here. Okay, I don't want to type everything out manually. Okay, so we'll have that. We've already done this, so I think you know what's going on here. Okay, so this is our startup template, and then over here I'll say Gilbert Blankson, right? Gilbert Blankson's portfolio. Is that a spell of portfolio? Okay, portfolio, right? And I have my Bootstrap link over here. Okay, so I'm going to add my CSS as well. Link style sheet, that's index.css, because it's in the same folder. Okay, so that's my CSS file here. It's empty for now, but then we'll be adding stuff to it as we go on. Okay, so now we have hello world 1. Okay, so I'm going to remove this from here. Okay, so now let's go to let me open this, open in the default browser. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now our site is empty. Now let's check this out. Now this is we said we'll make this a navigation bar, right? So we need to sort of create a navigation bar in Bootstrap. All right, if we were to do it like this, okay, it means we'll just get a jumbotron, get some 3 columns, stuff like that, put it inside over there, and then we are good to go. But then we'll just go with the navigation bars, just so you know how to build navigation bars with Bootstrap. Okay, it's very easy. So we go to the docs and we go to component, right? The component section, we see something called a nav bar. So we click the nav bar. Okay, so what even makes it easy, all the code is there, so you can just copy and paste it, right? It's just a bunch of styles. So we're going to look for the nav bar we are interested in. There's a whole lot, fake, stretch, then this is one type of nav bar. I think this is probably something that I think we'll need, this particular nav bar right here. Okay, so let me copy this because I like how this is. It's very simple. We don't want any complicated stuff, so I'll copy this. Okay, and then I'll come here and then I'll paste it. Let me just label this nav bar. Okay, just to give it some vibe. Okay, so I'll just paste it here, right? Now let's see what is going on over here. Okay, so we have our nav bar in just one line of code. We haven't even done any CSS at all. All right, so over here realize that we have the BG lights. Okay, so all these are Bootstrap classes. Over here you have a container free, so Bootstrap has already done all this for you, so you just have to go in there and then copy and paste whatever you want and then customize it. Okay, this one doesn't have a drop down. There are ones with drop down. Over here this is a one with a drop down link. So you can go there and then just go and copy the ones to the drop down and then customize it as well. All right, so this is the nav bar. Now, though we are not doing the same thing, I want it to look somewhat similar, the color and then all that stuff. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to name this Gilbert Blankson. Okay, then I'll put this right here like this. Okay, Gilbert Blankson. All right, and then I'll let's just assume we had some other pages. Let's say we actually had a separate about me page, right? Maybe a separate contact me page, right? And then let's say we had okay, this is disabled. Let's remove the disabled from there. Let's say we actually had a put that right here, href. Okay, let's say we had a charges, like how much I charge and all that for my work. Okay, so let me go back then and let's reload that. Okay, so I have that over here. All right, so another thing I can do is I can sort of shift the nav bar to the right, okay, so that we can have Gilbert Blankson here and then we can have the other parts of the links over here, right? To do that, I can simply apply MS auto. Okay, so we say margin start auto. So margin start, that's this to the left of the link auto, right? So that shifts it over here. Okay, yeah. So then from here, I can continue doing my my various styles. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. So I right click here, click inspect. Okay, so you need to learn how to override, right, the default Bootstrap styles, okay, with the right selected. So over here you realize that when I click on the nav bar expand stuff, there's a background color, there's a certain background color here. Okay, so I need to override that background color to get the color that I want. And then also the links, I need to override the links colors, okay, to make it look better, right? So let's do that. Okay, so over here we have I don't know what color this is, right? But I'm sure we can find what color it is. So I'll right click there, see whether we can find whatever color that is. Okay, I'm sure it's this. It looks like this, the background color. So I'm going to copy this, okay, and then close that, and I'll paste it somewhere in my CSS file, okay, to use later. So what I'm going to do is I want to change the background color of the nav bar. So I'll remove this BG light. Okay, all right, and I'll say the class is navbar, right? So I'll say nav.navbar, okay, and I'll say background color is this right here. Okay, so let me delete that. Okay, let's save it, let's go back to our portfolio. Okay, so we have this color which sort of looks like this right here. Okay, but then our text is all looking white, is dark, right? So we need to make this nav link, right? The nav link is what is black. Okay, so we say nav.navbar. No, in customizing your Bootstrap, you need to try and make your selectors as specific as possible. Okay, color white. Okay, so let's go back and then see. Okay, so that's color white. We have something that is still not a color of white, which is a home, right? What is going on? Okay, so that's the nav link active. Okay, so you see that over here there are some styles, nav.navbar, navlink active. Okay, so navlink active simply means the current page that you are on. So I'm going to just remove the active from there. In the meantime, I'll save it, and then we'll have our white over there. Okay, now our nav bar brand over here is still black, which is this. Okay, so I'm going to also make that white. Okay, background color white. Okay, so let's save that, see what we got. Okay, oh, not background color, sorry. Actually, background color white is not bad. It's actually not bad. That's not what I intended, but it's looking good. It's looking good. I think I'm going to maintain it. I wanted to make the background color. I wanted to make the color white, but I ended up making the background color instead. So let me try a padding of 1 em. Let me see how that looks over there. I mean, we are designing this from the top of our head. So okay, that also looks good. Yeah, because I want us to have like something nice over there. Okay, so font to a bold. Okay, so this is nice. All right, and then we can give the navbar itself a padding to, you know, to make it look a bit big, right? So we can say 2em. Okay, yeah, I mean it's not as big as this, but I think, you know, we can still do something. So padding 2em. This is all around, so I just want the padding top and bottom to be 2em, but this can remain at. So this is the shortcut padding property. Okay, the first value is for top and bottom, and the second value is for left and right. Okay, so let's see. Okay, all right, so I just want to make the top and bottom a bit bigger than what it is now. Okay, just to give it that feel. Okay, so Gilbert Blankson about me, contact me, charges. All right, we can add some hover effect over this. Okay, we can try that and see how that goes. So let me say navbar. Sometimes you need to find which particular style you need to overwrite. Okay, so let me say hover, right? Background color white. Okay, I'm not going to give it any color now. I just want to see if this works. Okay, so background color white. Okay, and then you realize that it is because the background color is white, the text white itself is also going. So we say maybe color. Let's use the same color instead. Okay, so to make it feel consistent, right? Can give you, let's say, a border radius. No, not the not when you hover, but it should have a border radius of, let's say, 5 pixels, right? Okay, so let's see how we are looking here. Okay, yeah, so this is pretty simple, right? Then we have our logo over here. All right, so that's his over here. So I mean, it could have just been an image just like we have here or something like that, but for the sake of simplicity, you know, we can keep it like this as well. All right, so that is our navigation. We are done with it. Okay, we didn't want to do something like this, else we'd have all that text over here. I just wanted to show you how building a simple navigation actually really works. Okay, when you do it small like this, okay, you realize that you have the pop-up over here. We'll talk about responsiveness. You realize that when you reduce the size, this becomes black, so we can change this to become white. Okay, just like this. Okay, but you know, let's just go on with the rest of the sections. All right, so we have this right here. So we have the human-centered problem solver thing. We have the image over here. All right, there's this nice effect on the image. I think we'll do it in the last minute. Okay, but now we'll just focus on adding the image over here. So if you have any images there, any nice photo shoot stuff you've done, I think you can go get it there. Okay, something that is a square image. All right, so let's see how we can add this particular section right here. Okay, so we'll go back to our code, right? I'm sorry. Okay, and then we have our navbar here. Okay, so I'll say maybe introduction section, intro section. Okay, all right, now let's say I want the end to end, so I'm going to use my my jumbotron, right? Jumbotron. Okay, and I'm going to get a div.container md, right? Okay, and I'll get a div.row, right? And I'll get a div.co md6. Okay, that's 2 of that. Cause over here you realize that we have just 2 columns, 1 column and another column. All right, so then this first column, and they are spread sort of equally. This first column is here, has the text, and the second column has the image. Okay, so we are going to lay it out like that exactly. So h1. Okay, so we'll have the h1 over here. This over here is saying human-centered problem solver from planet Earth. I see. Welcome to my website. I'm super excited to have you here. Right, this is what we will use. Okay, and then over there you realize that we have some text over here down there, so we'll say maybe a P would probably be okay. Okay, so I can say my name is Gilbert. I am a full stack software engineer with almost a decade of experience, and I love the work that I do. Okay, so we've laid it out very simply over here. Okay, so let's go back to our page and see what's going on. All right, so over here you see we have this. It doesn't look closely like this because we haven't done some one or two things, right? The font is very different. This is like the very default font and all that stuff, so there's still some work to do. Okay, but we have the basic column over there. All right, so what we do is now let's go get our image. Okay, so for me, I have my image over here, photo.png. This is the image I'll be using. Please don't laugh at me. I hope this image is nice. Okay, so this is an image I took some time back, so I'm going to paste this into the projects folder. Okay, over here, photo.png. all right, so that's it. Let's open that and see. Okay, perfect. So we'll go back and then we'll include that over here, image, right? src photo.png. okay, and then we'll give it a class of image fluid, right? So this image fluid class, we'll see what is happening. This is a nice class to make your images responsive. Okay, so let's go back to our portfolio and then reload. Okay, so this is what happens. So let's see what image fluid, so image fluid is giving the image a max width of 100% and a height of auto. So a max width of 100% is saying that, hey, no matter the width of the image, don't let it be more than 100% of the column. So let's remove the image fluid over here and see what happens. So now the entire size of the image is what is showing over here, but that's not what we want. Okay, so this is a nice addition, you know, for your images. So let's go back, reload. Okay, then we have that over here. So you realize that, well, this isn't really entirely properly laid out. We want something like this, okay, which is centered over here. This is also centered, and the image has some border radius over there as well. So over here we can call on you know, some styles, some custom styles and all to lay this out. Okay, so first of all, I'll give this Jumbotron intro Jumbotron some styles. Okay, so I'll say div.intro Jumbotron. Okay, I'm going to give it a background color of red. Okay, just for the purpose of demo. Okay, so we know where it starts and where it ends. Okay, all right, and I'm going to give it, like, say, a width of let me say 600 pixels, right? Maybe not a width, a height. Okay, I'll say main height of 600 pixels, right? When we say a main height of 600 pixels, it means the minimum height should be 600 pixels, but it can become longer when you are on a small screen size. Okay, so that's the main height of 600 pixels. Okay, but we're still having center stuff here. Okay, so what we'll do is now we'll call on some flexbox styles. All right, so we would have the flex here. That's display. This is display flex. Okay, it's a class, Bootstrap class. We say align items center. We say justify content center. Okay, so let's do that and see. Okay, all right, so now this has been centered. Okay, but then the image is still attaching itself to this edge over here, and that is not what we want. Okay, so it means we need a little bit of padding around the Jumbotron, right? So we can say maybe the Jumbotron will give it a padding of, let me just see, ATM. Okay, and then let's see how that looks. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I love how this is going. Okay, this is looking nice right now. But for our image, okay, let me give the image a class of profile photo. Okay, because we probably have other images on the side. So image or profile photo, right? And we'll give it a border radius okay, of 6%. Okay, as an example, let's see how that looks. Okay, I think I may have messed up something over here. Let's see. Oh yes, I had a class here, so I should have added the class over here. Okay, so sorry about that. Let's reload. Okay, so there we go. So we have our image over here, just like we have this guy's image over here. Okay, and then we have our text over here and then all that stuff. So you can customize this, make it look like how you want it to look like. Okay, so now I'm going to remove the red background from the Jumbotron. Okay, right, perfect. So we are making progress with the site so far. I think this has a little bit more space over here as compared to this. So let me just add a tiny bit. Maybe let me make the padding 9 em instead. Probably that will make it look, yeah, this looks a bit more better, right? Yeah, so this looks much better. Maybe I'll make the left and right 8 em. Okay. I mean, design is always like that. You try so many till you get what works for you. All right. So let's see. Let me adjust this to 6. Okay, so that will the paddings at the left and right will sort of, yeah. Okay. So I think I like this. I like it this way. Okay. Okay. So one thing you realize is that on Mike's side, the logo is sort of aligned to the content over here. Okay, so they are all aligned here. So this is a very important detail, right? And on our side, ours has just come to the edge, which is not making this look very good. Okay, so instead what we'll do is that we'll go back to our code, right? This has a container, the navigation has a container of fluid, and this has a container of MD, right? So we'll just make the navigations container fluid also MD. Okay, and then we'll go back and then we reload that. Perfect. So then, right, this aligns perfectly, and then it's already looking better than it was at first. All right. Okay, so now on to the next section, the about me section. Okay, so let's try writing the HTML and the styles too for this as well. It will be the same as the this, almost the same. Okay, almost the same, just some slight differences here and there in the color and all, but typically the same. And don't worry too much about the fonts. Okay, once we are done with the layout, now we'll come back and then you customize the fonts, make it look nicer and all. But in the meantime, let's just keep our focus on the layout itself. Okay, so we have the about me section over here. So let's create another section. Okay, about me. Okay, so div.class, div.jumbotron dot about me jumbotron. Okay, perfect. Then we have the div.container md. Okay, and we have the div.row, right? Okay, then we have the div.co md12. We'll make it called md12. Okay, so why called md12? So the about me is on its own line. Okay, so after the about me we have another row, and this row will have the md6 over here that we can use. Okay, so let's add the about me. That could be h1. Okay, about me. Okay, it's so fun when you have the design already, and then you don't have to worry too much about the design and how it looks and then all that stuff, right? Okay, and then we'll have so let's separate. I like to separate things out so that I know how you nest the things are nesting. Okay, so I'll create another row. Okay, and in this row I have 2 md6, right? Okay, so I have some text in here. I think he has about 1, 2, 3 paragraphs, right? So let's add one. Let's add the 3 paragraphs over here. Okay, we'll fill it with our own contents, right? So let's add our own paragraphs here. I think he has 2 over here. All right, I will not bother too much about this signature over here because it's sort of like, I think it's an image, I guess. Let me see. Here it's an image, a signature image, 160 by 38. Okay. I mean, a signature is a signature. Okay, that adds some level of, okay. Or we can let's see whether we can open the image in a new tab, probably save it and use it for our purposes or something. Okay, just for the purpose of demonstration. Okay, so this is the image. Let me save the image as, okay, I'll save it as signature. Okay, all right, and then we will add that to our page when we get there. Okay, so in the meantime, let's focus on the color and all that stuff about this particular page, okay, because we have that work to do. Okay, all right, so let's save, reload, let's see what we have so far. Okay, so we have the about me. You realize that there's no content there, so we are not getting the desired effect. Okay, so we'll say that we'll pick this class, right? div dot about me jumbotron. Okay, we'll also give it a main height of 600 pixels. Okay, we'll give it a padding also of 9 em, 6 em. Over here, I am sort of duplicating the same code over here, which is not very advisable, but then for educational purpose, that is why I've done it this way, because I'm not sure whether this will actually have the same mean height and paddings as this. Okay, we are just testing out. Now for the background, it has a very nice blue background, so I'll inspect it and I'll check the background. Okay, it looks like this. This is the color that was used, right? So or it was this instead. Oh, I think it has a nice, it's sort of like it seems to be like a gradient-ish something. Where were we? This right here. Okay, I think it's this color, right? Yeah, BG gradients. I think it's this. I don't know what he used. Okay, but let's try this particular color and see whether we got it. So I'll go back to the code, our code, right? I'll say background. Okay, and I'll put the linear gradient stuff over there. Let's see whether we get that. Okay, all right, so we yeah, I think we got it. We got it. We got it right there. Okay, and I think the text inside is white. Okay, so okay, I think I'll say star, right? The color is white. Okay, so that the H1 and everything will have a color of white. Okay, so we'll come back and style the font like I said. Okay, we'll get a nice font style and then use it. So I'm going to type in my about me in all the columns. Okay, so you can pause this video and also type in your about me, in the two columns that in this two columns that we've created. Okay, and then you come back and then continue this video. All right. Okay, so I have added some about me. I couldn't take through so much about me, so I just copied what he had over here and then made it mine. Okay, so please make sure that this is not yours. Okay, this is just for educational purposes. All right, so this is about me, but there are some things we need to check, right? Because over here the spacing over here seems to be too big. Over here his is a little bit small, so we have to reduce that. So let's go back and then make the padding top. All right, let's reduce it by like 2 ems, right? And let's reload ours. Okay, yeah, so I think this is okay for now, right? And then also there is some space over here. Okay, ours is sort of squeezing together too much, right? So what we will do is we would have to give some gap over here between the columns. All right, so what we can do is we can wrap this over here in a div. Sorry, we can wrap this right here, okay, in a div. Okay, and then we'll say maybe class PR, let's say 5. Let's see whether that works out. Okay, so let's try PE5. Okay, see what happens here. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we've given some space over here. PE5, that's the padding at the end of this should be 5. Okay, so that we have some space over there. So we'll come back later and then check the font sizes, clean up and then all. So like I said, we are laying it out. Now over here we also have some space between the about me and the content over here, so we sort of have to give that same spacing as well. Okay, so we can give some MT5 over, that's margin top 5, to give our row some spacing, over here. Okay, so that we have some nice spacing over here. This looks a bit bigger, so let's try MT4 instead. Okay, so MT4, right? Okay, this looks good, right? This looks good. Once we get our nice fonts to use, we'll be good to go. So I love what I'm seeing. But if you realize this text is sort of entering this too much, I think we should also give some column spacing here, right? So let's go back to that side, and then where we have the hi welcome, let's wrap that also in a div. Okay, and let's give that div also a PE of let's say 4, right? Let's see how that looks. Okay, all right, so I think this is better, so that we have some nice spacing over here. Okay, this is good. And then the way the eye is there is looking so awkward, so let's make sure that the eye is always on the next line. Okay, so that welcome to my website will be on one line, and I'm super excited to have you here will also be on one line. Okay, so we have that going. Okay, let's check to see what we are left with. Okay, so now the signature, all right. This is the trademark or whatever it is. Okay, so we are going to add that. Okay, we already downloaded the signature over here, remember, into our project. Okay, so we'll say img, right, src signature .png. Okay, we'll say class is equal to image. I don't know why I keep typing outside this code, right? Image fluid. Okay, let me just remove this out for now. Okay, and then let's reload our site. Okay, so we have that over here, but this looks like very big and it's black. Okay, meanwhile this is white. Okay, so what we can do is we can use let's add a class to this class signature. I'm still typing outside this signature, right? So we say image.signature, right? Sorry, image.signature. We'll have a CSS property called filter, right? We say invert 100. So what we are saying is that whatever color it is, invert whatever color that particular image is by 100. Okay, so use the direct opposites of that image, and the direct opposite of black is always white, right? So perfect. So we have our white over there. Now this is looking a bit big, right? So let me see whether we can manually reduce the width of the signature. Okay, so with that, okay, this is better. Let's see. Right, it's sort of almost the same. Maybe let me add just like 60 pixels to it, right? Okay, perfect. And then it's sort of, there's some spacing between that and the last paragraph. Okay, so we need to add that spacing. So let's add MT, that's margin top of, let's say 3. Let's see how that looks. Okay, that is not enough. Okay, let me see 5. Okay, 5 is not enough, so I think we need to come here and say maybe margin top of, let me try something big to see what happens. All right, okay, 3 is a bit too big, right? So let me see 2em. Let's try 2em and see how that works out. Okay, 2em is not bad, but we are trying to get it as the same as the design as well. 1.8em. Still a bit too. Okay, this is quite okay. Let me make it 1.5em. I believe you are seeing the flow of a designer, right? So this is it right here. So we've been able to sort of clone this to a point. Okay, let's increase the padding here and here by just a tiny margin, right? So about me, let's make it 8, right? Just by a tiny margin. Okay, all right, so that, like, yeah, this looks nice. This looks nice. All right, so now we are making progress with our portfolio site. I love what I'm seeing. Actually, I'm thinking this, instead of the square thing, the square edges, let's make this a bit rounded. Okay, so let's go back to navbar brand. Where are we? Okay, and let's give it a border radius, right? Because I don't like the whole rounded vibe. Let's say 5%. Okay, because to make it look a bit casual. Okay, so 5% doesn't look too good. Let's make it like 10%. Let me see how 10% looks. Okay, so I think we will leave it like this. I mean, at least it has some rounded vibe and all, so it's okay. Or actually, thinking about it, let's make it. I still don't like how it looks. Let's make this maybe 10 pixels instead of the 10%, right? Let's see what we got here. Aha, yeah, this looks much better. Let me try. Let's say 20 pixels. Okay, I mean, you can customize it however you want. Okay, yeah, I think I like this. This is okay. It has a rounded filling also. I think I like this better. I like this better. Our size is already beginning to look good, and we haven't even added our font and then all that stuff, right? So now the next section, which is the one of the trickiest sections, is over here, the latest works. Okay, where we have the image, we have some couple of other images over here too that we need to deal with, and then we have our text and all that stuff here and all. But basically the layout will be the same. Okay, so let's look into how we would go about this. So first of all, let's download these images. Okay, let's download these images. So I'm going to open this in a new tab. Okay, so I'll say save image as. Okay, and I'll save it in my the portfolio. So I'll make it like, let's say sample work.jpg. So I'll save that. Okay, and these dot stuff are also definitely images, so I'll open them in new tab, right? I don't know which images they are, but I'll also save them as square dots. This is square dots.png, right? Okay, then I will check this out to open image in new tab, and I'll say maybe save image as line.png. All right, now let's save that as well. Okay, perfect. So now we have all our images that we need saved. Okay, so let's get to designing this particular section. Okay, so we'll create another section. Okay, we'll name that the latest works jumbotron. Latest works. Okay, latest works, right? So div.jumbotron.latest works. Okay, all right, and then we'll have the div.container md. All right, and then we'll have, similar to what we did for the about me, right? div.co md12. Okay, so we'll have so we can just copy each one here and then place it right here. Okay, we'll call this latest works. Okay, so let's give this some separation like we always do. All right, and then let's give the latest works jumbotron. Okay, so div.latest works jumbotron. Okay, we'll give it a main height of 600 pixels. Okay, remember, with time you can always modify your simplify your CSS. The stuff that are common, you can sort of move them to variables, or just create a single class for them and stuff like that, right? Now let me see the pattern that we got over here. Okay, it has some pretty neat patterns over here, so I think it's almost the same pattern that we'll need for that too as well. 8em, 6em, right? Now what we don't know yet is the background that he used for this. Okay, so let's inspect that and see whether we can get the background that he used for that. Let's see. Let's go through his stuff. Let me see. This is what happens when you try stealing someone's colors. Okay, so I think the background color looks, no, I don't think it's this. I think it's supposed to be this one. Okay, but we need to find which color he used exactly. Okay, so I think it's this. So we have background color here. We have this RGB for something. Okay, this is like an opacity, so we'll just take the RGB portion of things, right? So let's go back to our code, right? And then let's give it a background color of RGB that. Okay, let's save it. Let's remove the A. Okay, we are not interested in that. We'll just leave it as RGB. Okay, and let's save that. Okay, so perfect. So this is it. We we sort of have a similar color right here. Okay, so I think what we are left with is to make to give this to make everything inside a color of white, right? So star color white. Okay, so let's save that and see. Okay, so I think I may have missed something. Okay, so white, perfect. Sorry about that. Okay, so we have the latest text which is white. Okay, so that is it over there. Now the next over here seems to be like the image. All right, we have the image here, and then we have the some text over here as well. So we'll create the next row, right? So div.row, and inside we'll have like 2 md6, right? We'll create another one like this, like so. Okay, and then let me see what we got here. So we have this image, we have that over here as well. So let's see. So we saw image src, so that's the sample work.png, right? If I got that right. Okay, and then we'll say class is equal to image fluid. Okay, so let's check that out on our side. Okay, so I think sample work.jpg, sorry, jpg, not png. Okay, all right, so we have that image right there. Okay, but then realize that there's some spacing between that row and the top row. So let me see, mt5. Let's see whether we can get that spacing. Okay, it's still not enough. Okay, so instead what we'll do is we'll say image row. Okay, then we'll come back and we say log this, right? Then div.image row, right? We say margin top, we say maybe 3 em, just to make sure that the space on top is like pretty large. Okay, 3 em still looks very small. Let me make sure we are getting the right row. Okay, margin top, let's try 6 and see what happens. Sometimes you need to make it bigger to see. Yeah, so that is okay, that is pretty okay. Now let's apply the the image has this white over here. The image has this white border. Okay, so let's do that border. I think that will help us gauge properly where we are. Okay, so I'll say this. So image dot, we don't have any class for the image, right? So what I'll say is maybe latest works jumbotron. Okay, let's give this a sample work image. Okay, just to keep things a bit simple. Okay, so image or sample work image, we say border radius, border, we'll say maybe 5px solid white. Okay, let's save that, see how we are looking. Okay, that's 5px. Okay, we can make it maybe 7px, right? Let's see. Okay, 7px is still not too big, so let's just get it to 10 instead, right? Probably 10 will be a bit too big, but we are still experimenting. Okay, so this is okay. Yeah, this is okay. Then we can also add a nice border radius of, say, let's say 5 pixels, right? 5 pixels border radius. Okay, this is good. Okay, this needs a little bit more curve, right? Let me see what 10 pixels radius can give us. Okay, this is brilliant. This is almost the same as this, right? Okay, and then next is the text over here, right? So let's up digital product cost. Okay, so that is an H1. Okay, so I'll say let's say check out my new tutorial website. Okay, this is a bit dummy stuff, but like, bear with me. Okay, so it's not yet centered, right? But we'll get to that shortly. So let's just get this stuff done. Okay, so check out, I think each first letter is uppercase. So check out my new tutorial website. Okay, so we have another paragraph. Okay, my new tutorial website is really amazing and cool. You can learn a whole lot of stuff from there. Please do check it out. Sign up and start learning. I don't know where I'm getting these interesting ideas from, but well, we'll just do it that way. Okay, so I think it's still not so long enough, but I think this is okay. This is okay. Or maybe you can add some one more line or two just to make it longer. Okay, I would definitely love to hear from you. Okay, so let's get that going too as well. Okay, so that is it, and then we have this text over here, checkout site. So we need a button, right? So we can say maybe we can give another P, okay, just to make sure it's on the same line. We can say A, right? href. Then we have class. So in Bootstrap, this is how we add buttons. You can say btn, and btn we can say maybe danger to give it red. Okay, check out the site. Okay, so let me make that sentence casing. Okay, let's see what btn danger does for us. Okay, so this is it, right? But this is not exactly the color we are looking for, and then the size of the button and all. Also, we have an arrow here. Okay, but this you can do with simple icons, right? Font icons, but we'll eliminate this for now. We'll ignore this for now. Okay, so let's try and get this color. So this color over here looks like yeah, I think it's this color right here. Okay, so okay, is there any other button on the side? Okay, so let's make checkout button, right? A.checkout button. Okay, so A.checkout button. Okay, we'll give a background color of this. Okay, so let's see, right? Let's see how that looks. Okay, so we have that background. Okay, right, so we will say maybe a padding of let's say 1.5 em, to make it look a bit bigger than it is, right? Okay, this is a bit too big, right? So we'll say maybe 1.2 em. Okay, it's still not looking like this. Okay, so I say maybe 1.2 em, maybe left and right should be 2 em. Okay, just to make the left and right stretch a little. Okay, all right, I think the font size too can increase a little. Font size font size can be, let's say 18 pixels. Okay, right. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty close, not as close, right? I mean, we can try and clone it to exactly the same as much as possible. Okay, but then let me see, but definitely you get the idea of what we are trying to work on. So it shouldn't be too hard for you to adjust this button so you get it right. Okay, so you realize, I mean, that's the work of a designer. As a web developer, you keep adjusting till you get it right. Okay, so I think we just leave this for now. Okay, and then there's some space over there, right? So we'll give the P tag maybe a margin of, let's say, 5, just to give it a little bit spacing right between. Okay, the spacing is too big as compared to the size we are working on, so let's reduce that. Okay, yeah, this is perfect. Now on Mike's site, when you hover over it, we have this nice subtle effect, which is like the the whole opacity thing. Okay, it's not really a change in color, right? So we would have to look at that too. Okay, so A.checkout button. Okay. So it means when you hover over that button, Bootstrap is giving it a certain color, right? So we have to maintain this color, okay, and then say opacity of, let's say, 0.8 or something, something just to remove that whole effect. All right, so this is it. Perfect. So what we did here was that when you hover over it, you realize that the color becomes red, but that is being caused by this particular Bootstrap style, BTN danger. Okay, so what we have to do is that this is where we can overwrite a style that Bootstrap is giving. So we know that Bootstrap is applying a background color of red when you hover, so we enter our own style over here, and so this overwrites the Bootstrap styles, right? And we give it an opacity of 0.8. okay, so this is what we have now. Okay, we would also want some spacing between this and that, right? Okay, so let's get some spacing over there. So we'll wrap this in another div, okay, like we always do, and say maybe PS5. So PS5, we are saying padding starts 5. Okay, so I think, yeah, this is a bit better. Okay, now let's jump to centering it properly, because this is centered, so we need to sort of center this as well. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. Okay, so to do that, let's go back to our code, right? We would add the flexbox styles on that particular row. Okay, the row with the image samples and stuff like that. So we say align items center, right? Justify content center. Okay, so let's save that and then go back. Right, so now this is perfectly centered, right? Now we are making a lot of progress. I love how things are going. We are not even done, and then we are already cloning the entire site. All right. Okay, so next we have these images. Okay, so this is where things will get a bit interesting. Now these images look like they are out of the they are sort of positioned. Okay, they are not in the grid layout. Okay, they are positioned. So it means we have to include these images and sort of like position them at their right places. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do that right now. Okay, so we have our image already downloaded, right? So we say image src square dots, right? And square dots dot png. Okay, we'll give it a class of dots and square dots. All right, so all images with the class of dots will have a certain value. All right, so now let's go back to our CSS and say image dots, right? We'll say position, right, absolute. Okay, and then let's say image dot square dots. All right, top will be 0, right, and then the right will be 0 as well. Okay, so let's see how that plays out here. Okay, so the image has been positioned over here. Okay, why? Because we learned that when you position an image or an item absolutely, right, it leaves the flow of the entire content, right, and it's positioned relative to the overall body, right? But we would want the positioning to be done to just this column over here, like we have over here. All right, so what we will do is we will give this container column an inline style of, let's say, position relative. Okay, so let's save that and see what happens. Perfect. So right now this has been positioned absolutely relative to the container element, all right, the column element, but the image is a bit too big. Okay, so let's see what image size Mike used over here. So he used an image width of 275 pixels. Okay, so let's try that. So we say width 275 pixels. All right, so let's save that and see what we got. Oh, sorry, I reloaded the wrong site. So let's do that. Okay, so we have our 275 pixels here. So we sort of have to do some positioning stuff over here. Okay, so let's adjust the positioning a little. Okay, so let's pull the top up by, let's say, 10 pixels. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so that is going a bit up. All right, let's take it, let's make it 50 pesos. Let's see how that looks with 50 pesos. Okay, so 50 pesos is a bit too much, so let's say 40. So we have to keep adjusting till we get it like nearly right. So let me try 35 pesos. Okay, that looks good. Okay, yeah, that looks quite good. And then we have to shift it to the right as well. Okay, so let's say right of minus, let's try another 35 pixels here. Okay, see how that looks. Okay, that is too much. Okay, so let's try 25 pixels. All right. Okay, all right. Okay, so we can do I think we can bring it a bit more closer. Okay, so instead of 25, we can say maybe 23. Okay, let's see how that looks. Okay, we've been able to do that. Wow, I love this. This is looking good. All right, so we sort of apply the same concept to this dots right here. Okay, so let's see the size of this, what size he used, the width he used for that. Okay, he used 200 pixels, right? So let's capture this and position this as well, just like this. This time around we position it at the bottom left. All right, so let's go capture that image. So image, right, src, we have it right here, which is line png. Okay, all right, and we'll make it class equal to dots, then line dots. Okay, all right, then let's look at how it is now. Why do I keep reloading that page? So this is it, right? Looking very big and all. So we are going to adjust this as well. Image dot line dots. Okay, we say a width of 275 pixels, right? And we say this time I will say a bottom of, let's say, minus 35 pixels, and we say a left of, let's say, also minus 35 pixels. Okay, just as a form of test. Okay, so let's see how that looks like. Okay, so this is like this. Now let's see. Okay, so all right, so we need to shift it a little bit. So let me say 30 and then 30. This may work. Okay, let's see. I think we need to pull it out instead a little bit. So we'll keep playing around with it till we get the values right. Okay, so yeah, I think it still needs to come out a little bit. So let's try 50. 50 may be too much, but let's just see how that plays out. Okay, yeah, this is good. So now this is looking a bit big, right? This width, I think we need to check it well. So the width is 200 pixels, right? Not 275. So it's 200 pixels. So let's do it. Let's make it as such. Right, perfect, 200 pixels. Okay, so what we have to do now is you realize that this is on top of the image, so we have to sort of bring the image on top of it instead, right? So we have to give this image a bigger z-index. All right. Okay, so when we give this so the sample work image, when we give it a z-index of, let's say, something just a little bit high, 10. Okay, and then we come to our site and then we reload, we realize that this is still on top. Okay, this is a very interesting positioning and z-index behavior, right? When you are z-indexing something with positioning, there's this little bit of complication here and there that you need to know of. Okay, there's more detail about it in the link in the description at this point in time. Okay, so basically what's happening is that all these images are in the same stacking context. Okay, when that happens, right, the browser automatically prioritizes the last element, the last position element, to be on the highest order. All right, so to install the order that we want, what we can do is that we can apply another positioning of relative on the sample work image, the image itself, the screenshot itself, right? And then maybe give this an z-index of a lower one, which is 1. Okay, and then let's go back and reload the page and see what we have. Okay, perfect. All right, so now this has sort of fallen behind the image, but on Mike's side, I think this is a little bit, ours has come out a bit too much. Okay, so I think we would have to reduce that a little. Okay, so that it looks a bit smaller, right? But I mean, if it looks good for you, you can always adjust it and see how that works out. Okay, so let's try that 40. Okay, go back, reload. Okay, all right, this has still not gone inside as much. Okay, so I think we'd have to let me try 20 and 20. I mean, this is with design. You keep adjusting and adjusting and adjusting to get it right. 20 and 25 too. Let's try 25. See how that also looks like. Okay, this is close. Wow, we've been adjusting for a while. I mean, don't worry about that. It's a developer's life, right? It's a developer's life. Okay, I think we'll leave it like this. Okay, this is looking quite good. Okay, yeah, so this is looking quite good. So we've made a lot of progress, right? We made a lot of progress. Let's just check it out. So we've done our navigation right here. We've done our photo here, our about me section. Okay, I mean, once we add our font, I mean, our sites will look amazing, and we have effectively cloned this as well. This is so exciting, right? This is so really exciting. Okay, so the next is this section that we have here. Okay, it's a very interesting section. So let's see how we will go about this. Okay, so this looks like we have a containing element here, right? And we have this has been divided into two. So we have core MD6, right? And in the core MD6 we have another column. Okay, so it's a sort of like column in column, right? So we can do that. So let's create a new row, okay, because obviously that's in a new row. We say div.core MD6, okay, right? So this two will create, so this core MD6 will create this section and this section, okay, this section right here. Okay, so next what we'll do is that in the core MD6 itself we have another row, okay, where we'll have div. We can say core MD, let's say 3, right? And over here we can say div.core MD9, okay, all summing up to 12. Then we can have the same thing over here like this, right? Then we can say maybe test 3, right? Test 9. Okay, so test 3, test 9, test 3, test 9. So test 3 over here. What am I doing here? Okay, test 3 here, and then we have test 9 here. Okay, so let's see what's happening right now. Okay, so over here we have test 3, test 9, okay, which is showing over. So we have to make sure that we are getting all right. So this one we forgot the row, okay. So test 3, test 9. Okay, let's do that. Okay, now let's see how this looks, right? Okay, so realize that we have 2 columns, okay, and where we have 3, we have 9, we have 3, we have 9. Okay, so let's make this look good. Okay, let's make this look good. So what we can do is you realize that this has some background, some nice background around it, okay, and then with a border radius. Okay, so let's wrap this row in a div. Okay, let's give it a class of, let's say, bg danger. Okay, bg danger. Okay, just to show something, right? So bg. So you see what we have here. Okay, so obviously now you are seeing the adjustment that we need to make. Okay, so we can say maybe atomic div. All right, we just call it atomic div. So div.atomic div. We say margin top, right? Margin top of 2em. Let's see what 2em has for us. Okay, it's still 2. I think it has to come really down. Okay, so let's make this like 6em, for example. Okay, let's get it down. Okay, it's still not down enough like how much we want it, so we make it like 8. Okay, let's try 8. Okay, 8 is almost there. We are not there yet, but we are almost there. So let's make it, let's say 9. Or 9 be too much? I don't know, probably. Okay, but yeah, I think yeah, 9 was a bit too much. I think 8 is the sweet spot. Okay, so let's get this to 8. All right, perfect. So you realize that now we have that layout over there. So what we are going to do now is we are going to copy this directly. Okay, just for the sake of test. Okay, we have the heading and we have some text over there. So let's go back to our code. All right, so in test 9, okay, we have h1. Okay, so h1 would copy atomic blocks, okay, right here, right, and then over there we'll have some paragraphs as well. So in the paragraphs we copy this, okay, and then we put it there. Okay, so let's see how that looks, right? Okay, so perfect. So we have h1 that it's a bit big. The h1 is a bit large, right? So instead of h1, let's say maybe h4, for example. Okay, all right, this is quite okay, right? And then we can copy the same h4 concepts, okay, but this time around the other one says array themes, okay, array themes. So we'll label this array themes, okay, and then we'll have another p tag, okay, and then what we'll do is we will copy this right here from here. We'll place that here, sorry, okay, so that we have so we have atomic blocks, our test 3, our array themes, and then all that stuff, that kind of thing over here. Nicely done. Okay, so next let's try getting the color, you know, of this stuff right. Okay, so let's try to see whether we can capture the color over here. Okay, we have let's see, can we get the color? Okay, so this looks like a color right here. Okay, so we called our div atomic div, right? So we'll give it a background color of that. Okay, so let's see the background color. Okay, I think we'll have to check that. Did I make a mistake here? Div.atomic div background color. Yeah, so we have to remove the bg danger, okay, because that is overriding our styles. Okay, so we have that, and then we need to give it a padding as well. So we'll give it a padding of, let's say, 2em. I mean, with these paddings and stuff, you'd always have to, like, you know, adjust it to see what is working and not. Okay, so we have some padding here. Yeah, I think this is quite okay. Let me add just, let's say, 0.2 to it. Okay, perfect. And then so this is what we have. This is the padding we have. Let me make it 0.5. I have a thing for large paddings. Forgive me, but I have a thing for large paddings. Okay, and then we need some border radius, okay, to give it that curve look, right? So I think 20 is probably too big, but okay, let's just give it a shot and see. Okay, all right, so that is our border radius. So we have the border radius over here as well. Yeah, so we've already cloned this side of things, right? We've already cloned it nicely over here. What is left is with this blue thing. Okay, I didn't want us to waste too much time with this, but I think we can probably give it a shot, you know, to see how it goes. All right, so let's see whether we can download this. Sorry, so right click, open image in new tab. This is looking I think, I don't know, it's an SVG image and we can't really get it like that. Unfortunately, we will not be able to steal this image. So those that wanted to steal the image, I'm sorry, you can't steal that now. So I think you know, we'll just keep this side for now, okay, but it's just like any other image that you'd want to add. Okay, what we would focus on is these boxes itself. Okay, probably we'll just put some text over there. Okay, so we'll just focus on these boxes, right? So that is the test 3. Okay, so the test 3, let's put some div.icon. Let's just make it div.icon, for example. All right, and then let's make it let's write those styles here. Div.icon. Okay, we'll give it a width of 100%. Okay, and let's say a height of 200 pixels, border radius of, let's say, 7 pixels. Okay, and let's give it a background color of red. Okay, let's see how that looks over here. Okay, so this is a bit too long, right? So 200 pixels is too long, so we need to cut it like, let's say, 40 pixels. Okay, 42 is too short. Okay, I think you can do 100. Right, let's try 100 to see how that goes. Okay, all right, so 100 is quite good, right? So next we need to get the color that Mark was using. Okay, so I think I have a color here which is linear gradient that. Okay, so we can copy that color for here for the div.icon, right? So for ours we have that. Ooh, I think I made a mistake somewhere. Background, not background color, it's background, right? Okay, perfect. So we have that here. I just love this, man. So we'll copy that and put it in this other div as well. Okay, so that we have the two. Yeah, so we could have those two, right? So if you want, you can sort of add some text or something, over there, or find an icon and put it there. Use it as a challenge to do something over there. I think that would be super cool. All right. So yeah, so we are done with latest work. The latest work div, which is looking really good. So for responsiveness, you realize that our site is not looking very bad responsively, right? But you realize that we would have to make some few adjustments to the paddings, and then the spacing over here, and then this we have to check that as well. Okay, but beyond that, it's looking pretty presentable even in the responsive mode, and that is one of the powers of using a framework, right? Like Bootstrap. Okay, most of the things are done for you. So in our code, you realize that we've written very little CSS, just to customize a few things here and there. All right, so let's move on with our site. So now this over here, I'm sure looks very simple to you. Okay, so we are left with only two sections. Okay, this and this. For this, right, we won't do like everything. We just take probably just this side. Okay, just 1 2 3 4. Okay, just to keep things simple in the meantime, and then keep the tutorial short. But then basically the concept is the same. You can use it, you can apply it to all other points over here. Okay, so let's get started with the out and about section. Okay, so for our out and about, all right, we would have another section. Okay, so you see basically the website is just made up of a whole lot of sections. Okay, so let's close this right here. Okay, so I can collapse this. Okay, then we can have out and about. Okay, so we'll do something similar. div.jumbotron dot out and about. Okay, right, so we have that number of settings. We have div.container md, right, and we have div.row. Okay, over here. All right, then let's come down right here and say div.out and about. Okay, out and about Jumbotron. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. Div.out and about Jumbotron. So we'll make that will already have a background color of white. Okay, so main height, right, we'll make it 600 pixels. Okay, and then the padding, we are going to look for the paddings we use for the other one. Okay, so we have a padding over here, so let's just copy and paste that. So 8 em, 6 em, right? Okay, and then now let's go back to the site and see. So we have, okay, this is also similar to this. Okay, so we have the co md6, and then we'll have the inner codes inside. Okay, with these rounded stuff and icons. Okay, the only difference is that this is like totally round. Okay, and then this is like sort of has that effect. Okay, so what we will do is we will create the div.co md6, right, times 2. Okay, so we need 2 of that. Okay, so this is it. Okay, perfect. So right here we have another row. Okay, like we did in the last one. So let me just separate out this co and this co, right, so that you see what's going on here perfectly. Okay, right, so it doesn't jumbotron in your mind. Okay, yeah, perfect. So we have this and we have this over here. So we would say div.co md3, right, and then we'll have the same thing, div.co md9. So you're already getting a feel of how Bootstrap works. It's just really about laying out your stuff. So we have the writer at lift off. So we have an H1, right? Writer at lift off. Okay, let's see what's going on in our site up to this point. Okay, so we have that. Okay, so writer at lift. So this is looking very big, if I must say. We've not yet brought the out and about. Okay, but we'll bring that very soon. So let's just get the writer. I think the other one we use an H4. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. Okay, writer lift off. Okay, and then let's see what we got here. The icon will be here, right, as we got it, but then we realize that that particular writer lift off is sort of underlined. Okay, so we have underlined Alt W. Okay, so we have U. Okay, let's just close this. This is one stubborn auto stuff. Okay, so let's close that. Let's come here, let's reload. Okay, so we have the writer lift off. Okay, so I think we forgot one angle bracket, okay, which is here. So writer at lift off. Okay, we have that right here. Okay, just like we have that right here. Okay, so let's go ahead with the content over there, which is the paragraph here. Okay, so we have a P right here, and then in the P, let's copy this content and let's just post it there, simply to keep things very simple. Okay, so we have a P. Let's reload that. Okay, that is it. We'll check the we'll definitely check the content, okay, with time. Okay, the font size and all that. Now we need another line. Okay, so we'll have div.row. Okay, then we can paste that one to here as well, so we get another line like this. Okay, then what we can do is we can just duplicate this straight away into another column like this. Okay, so we have something like this. Okay, perfect, right? So we have that gap and all that over here. Okay, so let's go ahead. So now we'll have to do with these icons, okay, like we did for this. All right, so let's get those icons. We can just make this div.pink icon, right? Div.pink icon. All right, for the first one. So let's come here and say div.pink icon. All right, we say width of maybe 300, width of let's say 100%, right? Or let's make it, we need, it's a rounded icon, so we probably need so let's try background color of red. Okay, so let's reload that. This is really big. Okay, let's give a width of 100%. All right, that's really big. Okay, the other one, we give it a height of 100 pixels, right? Something like that. Okay, let's see. Right, this is a bit small. Okay, but we are trying to get a border radius, a complete circle border radius, right? And that's like 50%, right? Let's try that and see how that looks. Okay, so this is a bit rounded, so you realize that it's looking more like an oval shape because of the width. Okay, because of the width not being equal. So let's try width of 100 pixels, and yeah, this is a bit more rounded. Okay, so we can reduce it any ways you want. We can make it 80 and then 80, right? 80 width, 80 height, for example. Okay, to keep it smaller. Okay, like we have here. This is even probably smaller than 80 by 80. Let's use like half of that to see. Okay, because it looks very small. Okay, 80 by 80 is even 40 is too small. Okay, so let's try 60, right? Man, CSS is all about trying out, always trying out, to see how things look like. Okay, so 60 by 60. Okay, that's pretty okay. All right. Now the spacing here is too much. The reason being that this is a core MD3, but the circle is too small for an MD3. So I think we'll just stick to MD2 and maybe MD10 or something. Let's see how that looks. Okay, this is better, right? This is quite closer to it. Okay, so we would have to to keep things simple, let's just do this. Okay, let's just copy this, right, and then paste it here. I mean, typically it's best to, if all columns are the same, it's best to design one column completely. Then once you are done, you can just copy and paste it, throughout. Okay, so that you don't have to copy and paste it like one by one like that. Okay, so yeah, this is quite okay. We realize that there's some spacing over here. Okay, this is too close, right? So we need to get some spaces over here. All right. So what do we do? This is a core MD6. This is a core MD. In the core we have a row. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to give the inner rows a margin top. Okay, right? So is this too large? Yeah, that's okay. So MT5, and then we'll give this row also a margin top. So hey, we are saying that hey, you this row, give us a margin at the top. Okay, so we have something here. So let's try and replace the our text with something actually more realistic. Okay, like Mike has on his site. Okay, so speaker here. Okay, and then we have this right here too as well. So we have this. Okay, perfect. So let's reload, see what we got. Okay, that is nice. This is looking way better, right? Now remember we've not done this out and about yet, so but let's deal with the color of this. I don't know what color this is, so let's try inspecting it. So it has a background of this. Wow, that's a nice color. I like it. It's very subtle, very nice. Okay, so we'll change the background color to that. Okay, let's see how it looks. It should be really light. Okay, yeah, so there we go, right? But unfortunately we don't have the icons. Okay, so we'll just keep it simple this way. Okay, so we are making a lot of progress with it. Now we have out and about. Also remember this is bold. Okay, so we need to make it bold later on. Okay, but out and about. Okay, so let's type that there, which is our main heading. Sorry, so over here would have the row, right? I have a div.co md12. Okay, then we have h1, we have out and about. Perfecto. Okay, so let's reload that. Okay, out and about. Okay, so it means we need some space between it. Okay, because this is like too much squeezing on it. Okay, so we need some spacing around it. So we can give this an MB of 5. That's a margin bottom of 5. Okay, yeah, there we go. We have some nice spacing over there. So we've already finished mocking up this section, right? I mean, if you want, you can go deeper, add the icons and then all that stuff. But like I said, the basic objective of this is to show you how you can lay out the entire site, with the grid, the columns, and then all that, manipulate your way here and there to show you that it's not really hard to go about it. Okay, so we've made a lot of progress. We are almost through. Okay, this is the very last part. This should be very simple. Okay, all we need is the 2 columns, this here and then this here, and then we are good to go. All right, so let's get started on that as well. Okay, so the last section for the site. All right, so we are going to create another div the jumbotron. we will call it the later skater jumbotron. All right, yeah, I love the name. They have the container MD. All right, then this time around we'll only have 3. We have just 2 columns. Okay, it's just going to be a very simple we just have this over here, this and this. Okay, so this and this, so just basically just 2 columns. All right, so co-MD says where we would have later skater. I love this. Okay, and then we would have another column div.co-md6. all right, and then for this we can use a simple paragraph. Okay, we can just copy it. Okay, this is like 2 paragraphs, right? So we can copy this. Okay, and then we can also add this. Okay, these are the pink stuff here are just like links that have been styled, so you can just add your link and then give it a different styling color or something like that. Nothing major. Okay, so later skater. Oh, okay, so we have a little issue here. Oh, so this is MD6, sorry, not M6. Okay, So let's redo that. Oh, okay, I think there's still a problem here. Container. Oh, see, look at that. I think I missed the row. Okay, these things usually happen. You forget that you're supposed to add the row. The row is very important. Container row code, right? Okay, perfect. So this is what we have here. Okay, so this is the jumbotron. I think we need to give it some height, okay, like we always do, and then the color, right? So let's get the class name, later skater jumbotron. Okay, the later skater jumbotron, main height. This is not as long as the others. Okay, so this will probably have like a shorter height. All right, and the background color, I think the background color uses the same as the navigation, something like that. Okay, so we'll give a background color of that. Okay, and then let's refresh. Okay, all right, there we go. And you know, the usual, our padding, right? So we need our padding, okay, which is very important. And then we also need our color of white. Okay, so star, that means everything inside should be a color of white. Okay, so let's see how that looks now. Okay, perfect. Later skater. Okay, so this is it. Here we go. We have our stuff here. So I mean, basically we have laid out the entire site. All right, this is our site. Okay, this is what we have. This is what we're mocking up, and this is what we have done so far. Okay, we have our image over here, and you know all that kind of stuff. So let's now go on to now get some nice fonts for our website. Okay, these fonts are not nice. Okay, Mike has some very nice fonts over here, so we are going to go through everything one by one and make sure that we are using some really cool fonts. Okay, so let's get some nice fonts. Okay, all right, so now let's go get us some fonts. All right, okay, this is our code. So we go to Chrome, right here. Okay, and over here I have found a font on Google Fonts. I call the Play Fair Display. All right, looks really decent. I mean, we could try with that. Okay, and feel free to use any fonts that you want, something that works for you. Okay, but I'm going to show you how you are going to include this in the project. All right, so we'll click it, and on Google Fonts you can choose all the versions that you want. Okay, so I'd want this. I want something to which is a bit bold. Okay, this is probably the boldest. Okay, I would also want something you know, something not too bold, something there and there. Okay, so I think I've chosen that. Let me see whether I can choose something a bit semi-bold. Okay, so I have that. So I've chosen the Playfair Display here. So to embed a font, copy the code into the head of your HTML. All right, so I'm going to copy this like this, Control C. I'm going to go straight into my code, right, the project, and I'm going to paste it before the index file. Okay, so index.css, right? So this is the code for including custom fonts, right? Then from there, okay, I need to do one more thing, right? I have to come and set the font family of my site to Playfair Display, right? So I come to index.css. Right on top I can put there star, which is to say that everything there should have font family of Playfair Display sans serif. Okay, so let's go back to our site and then reload the page. Okay, so you realize that this has changed, okay, to Playfair Display sans serif. Okay, so this is what we have over here. I mean, this is better, way better than our old site. So Mike sort of made this bold. Okay, so I'd want us to make this bold and a bit bigger as compared to what we have here. Okay, so I'd want us to make it bold and bigger. So let's go there. Let's give a welcome heading. So let's say this is class welcome head, right? So I'll say let's type that here, h1.welcome head, right? I can say font weight of bold, okay, and I can say maybe font size of 4 am. Okay, let's see how this looks right now. Okay, so this is how it looks now. This is big. I think there's a whole lot going on here. All right, so I want us to keep it at 3 lines, just like how we have it here. Okay, so let's say let me remove this from here first. Okay, let's reload it and see. Would have to adjust to get to the 3 lines. Okay, so now so let's just say thanks for visiting, right? Probably that will make it thanks for visiting, right? Probably that will get it to 3 lines at least. Okay, so yeah, we have this way, and then we have our font here, like our paragraph over here, right, which is also a bit too small. Okay, so we'd have to give it some spacing as well. Okay, so let's say class, let's give it some spacing between that and the header. Okay, let's see how that looks. Okay, some spacing, and let's give it, you know, welcome paragraph, right? Welcome paragraph. Okay, so we say p.welcome paragraph, right? Let's give it a font size of say 2 em. Let's see how that looks. Okay. Okay, this is this is large, just like how we want it. Okay, but I think it's sort of the number of lines is too much. Okay, so let me just summarize it to experience. Okay, I mean, you can make it however you want, customize it however you want. Okay, but I just want to keep it like this. Okay, so we have something a bit like this. Probably the font size is a bit too big, so you can make it, let's say 1.6 em. All right. Okay, now this is looking better. Okay, so we have some very nice fonts over here, and then also let's now tackle the about me. I think that the size of the about me will be the same as this latest works and out and about. Okay, so we are going to give all of those the same class. All right, so about me, we'll give it class maybe section head, right? We'll copy that and we'll give latest works to section head, and then we'll give what's this, out and about, to give that to section head. All right, okay, so let's go to we can put that right on top here as well. Okay, let's put it here, maybe before the jumbotron, right? So h1.section head, right? We can make it font weight of bold, right? And then font size, I think we can make it like quite big, right? Like say 4 em. Okay, let's see how that looks, right? Okay, I love this. This is looking good. So it's I mean, we got to write the first time, okay, because about me looks nice. It looks nice over here too. So I love how this is looking, right? For the font size, I think this particular font is not very clear, okay, as compared to Mike's own, but I mean, feel free to play around with whatever works for you. Okay, so we can also make the fonts a little bit big, right? So let's go back to the about me. Okay, and then let's give the paragraphs a class. We'll call them section, you know, let me call it section P, right? So class section P, right? I also give this a class of section P, and this a class of section P, a class of section P, a class of section P. All right, okay, so I can say, in fact, I could have just given the entire container a section. Okay, instead of this, let me just make it this way instead. Okay, to keep our code neater, right? So I'll say maybe this container can be section. Okay, so I can say div.section p, right? So that I target all the p's in that. Then font size, maybe I can say 2 em. All right, let's save that. Okay, this is a bit big. Okay, so I think we'll have to reduce the size a little, so 1.4 em. Let's try that and see. Okay, this is much better. Okay, this is way much better. So I love this. Okay, I really do love this thing going on over here. Okay, all right, so now the latest work section. Okay, I think this is probably our nicest section yet, right? Let's see what Mike did. Okay, so Mike made this a bit deeper, and then So we'll have to make this a bit bold. Okay, so let's go back to our latest works div. Okay, so h1, I think all h1s generally should be bold. H1 should actually be bold. Actually, thinking about it, not just the section head, anything we've labeled as h1, we want it to be bold, right? So let's make it h1 bold. Okay, yeah, so this makes that bold right there, just like we have it there. So check out my new tutorial website. Okay, and then we'll also want to make this part of the section. Okay, so like it's a section and section P. Okay, so let's say where did we apply the section again? Okay, so on the container, right? So section P. Let's see how that looks. Okay, I love this. It's not exactly the same as Mike's own because we have a lot more content going on there, but we can also reduce that. Okay, just to make it look as close to Mike's as possible, right? Okay, so we have that over there. We have our, our site is looking like really good. I love it. Okay, so now next is the atomic block section. Alright, that has a little bit smaller text as compared to what we have now, so we have to reduce that. But for that, this and this, they are all deep. Okay, they are bold. Okay, so let's do something. Atomic blocks right here. So that's h4, right? So we'll say maybe h1 and h4. Okay, so h1, h4 are all bold, right? Yeah, so atomic blocks and array themes also become bold. Right, then now let's make this a bit smaller. This is looking too big, so I think it shouldn't be the same size as the rest of the site, that particular paragraph. So we can make this atomic P. Okay, let's just make it atomic P for the sake of atomic P, right? So atomic P. So we say p.atomic P, right? That one's font size wouldn't be 1.4. We'll make it like, let's say 1.2 em. Okay, just so we see how it looks like, right? Let's see. Okay, this is still a bit big, so let's keep it 1. Okay, so it's not reducing. So you realize that because we gave this a section, right, and we said section P, right? So this is this selector is more specific than this, right? So what we do is we can say div.section, right, and then even make it way more specific. Okay, right, then now we have this small like that. Okay, so because the first selector was sort of overwriting that, so we needed to get rid of that. Okay, so I love how things are going with our site. Okay, you can, like I said, you can add the icons and stuff like that. Now let's go to our out and about. Okay, so our out and about is already looking good. We already have the headings bold and underlined and all that stuff, so we are good over there. Then the last section is the later skater. All right, so let's go to the later skater. So the later skater, I think we need to make it a bit larger, right? So let's make later skater larger and then also the text over here larger, right? So let's go back to our HTML and then go to later skater. All right, so we say class, because this will have its own later skater head, right? I keep typing this outside the code. I don't know why I keep doing that. So sorry about it. Okay, so I think we can type that a later skater, right? I am really not doing a great job with organizing the CSS, but I'm sure you'd be able to do better. All right, so please do better with organizing your CSS, right? Okay, so we have 2em. Let's see how big that is. Okay, 2em is small, right? So let me say 5em. Just looking. Okay, I'm probably not selecting the right one. Later skater head, right? So this is the h1 later skater head. Okay, so what could be wrong? Oh, see, how am I putting font weight 5em? Oh my god. It's bad. Okay, so that is for, oh my god, that was so embarrassing. Okay, so 3.4 em. All right, Okay, so latest kita, let's see, it's not that big. Okay, so I think we can still increase the size by a little bit. So 4 em. Okay, all right, I think this is okay. I mean, you can play around it to adjust it to whichever amounts that you want, but this is looking good for me. Okay, so I'm going to stick with this. All right, now the last is this you know text over there, so we're going to make it a bit bigger too as well. So let's see, so we give this a class. Well, let me say this is later skater container, right? So later skater container later skater container p, right? So we are selecting all the p's in later skater, and we say font size of 2em. We want you to be a baby, right? So this is so big, so we'll make it 1.2, right? 1.2 em instead. Okay, this looks good. This looks good. I love this. For the sake of making things just look like this, you can sort of span out some few things. We can say, maybe feel free to send me an old-fashioned email. Maybe we can wrap this in a span, right? Intentionally wrap this in a span as well. Okay, so we apply some specific color to it. We can say this is also in a span. Okay, so what we can say is p span, right, color. So color. Okay, so let's see the color for that. On Mike's side, this color, I think we've used it before, but we use the lighter version. Okay, so this is the color. I really love this color. It's so nice. It's a very nice shade of pink. Okay, so we have that color there. All right, so we have some stuff over there, and it's underlined as well. So I mean, just for the purposes of duplicating that, so text decoration, we say underline. Okay, and then we go there, and then so we have that underline. So at least our later skater looks sort of like this, not the same, but then it sort of looks like that. So we have made a lot of progress with the site. This can be your portfolio site. You can go through this, change the content, modify it, add more images in the latest works and all, make it look good, make it look yours, add the links and all that, and you'd have a really amazing portfolio website. Okay, so this has been Bootstrap. We've covered a whole lot. We've done great. We've done layouts. We've done column. We now know how to lay out the column step by step. We've literally mocked up the entire portfolio site for our guy here. All right. Now I will not go through the effects over here, but I want you to think around it. There's some animation, some CSS animation going on here with the gradients. Okay, there seems to be like an overlay, a div overlay with this gradient that is animated. So you can sort of look into that, see whether you can clone that same effect. It's very simple. Okay, just animate the gradient and you are good to go. So this has been really amazing. Okay, but now we need to put our site online for be able to share the link for other people to access our website. Okay, so what we are going to do is that we are going to deploy our site on Netlify. Netlify is a free platform where you can just host simple sites like this. Okay, so we just create an account over there, and then upload the project files, and then you get your link and you are good to go. I mean, and wow, you're on your way to become a professional developer. All right, so let's get started with Netlify. Okay, so to get started with Netlify, right, it's a very simple platform. You go to netlify.com. Okay, you go to sign up, right, and then you can sign up with whatever you want. So sign up with the following: GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, email. So I'm going to sign up with email. All right, so let's get started with this. So you can pause it and also enter your email and your password as well. Okay, so once you get started, they are going to ask you a few questions. I chose work. I'm a web designer. The company, you can choose 1 to 10, whatever it is, right? So company name, I can just type Carrots, right? Carrots Institutes, right? Or whatever it is, if you want that. Then set up and continue. Okay, so let's see. All right, so now they ask you deploy your first project, import an existing project from Git or pick a starter template, right? So you can employ from GitHub, choose a starter template, but what we want is the deploying manually. Okay, so deploying manually, you drag the project folder that we worked on. Okay, so I can click browse to upload and then go to, so this is the folder, right? So what I need to do is to click on portfolio. That's the folder that has all my project files, and I click upload. Okay, so this will upload files from portfolio. Only do this if you trust the site. Okay, so upload. So for after a few minutes it gets uploaded. All right, so after a few minutes, like I said, it gets uploaded and you get to see the link over here, right? And then when you scroll down, you see production deploy. So this shows the sites that you have sort of deployed. So if I come here, production, publish, okay, this is like a deploy log and then all that stuff. So you get to see like what happened, what you just did. So let's go back. Right now, there's a portion called site settings, okay, where you can set up the size that you want, and whatever it is. It's very simple. Okay, so over here is my link, right? HTTPS blah 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 from .netlify.app. So when I copy that and I paste it here, bam, that is my portfolio site. Very simple. It took like just a few minutes to get it. Okay, so you can share this link with anyone that you want, right? If you want a custom domain, obviously you'd have to, that's beyond the scope of this particular lesson. Okay, this is just to show you how you can deploy it immediately. All right, but you have to go to domain settings, try to buy your domain and all that stuff. But in the meantime, this is it. So it's very easy to deploy simple sites like this. So this is my link. I can share it with anyone that I want. Okay, so that is it. That is it about deploying your website. You can always come back here, Carrot Institute. Okay, so once you come here, this is sort of like your workspace. Okay, so you can add not just this site, you can add multiple sites. So you can come over here, add new sites, then you can choose deploy manually. Once you choose deploy manually, you go through the same process of uploading the projects folder, and then so you can have as many sites as you want over there, and then you are good to go. So this has been Netlify, and this has been the Bootstrap course. It's been a really amazing journey. All right, we've learned a whole lot about Bootstrap, about the basic layout. We focused mostly on the layouts, right? But there's a whole lot more to Bootstrap than we covered here. Okay, so go through the contents, the components, how are Bootstrap buttons done, drop downs, modals, popovers, there's a whole lot. But once you know how to get started with this, all these things are just easy. Okay, you don't need to swallow all of them at once. Okay, you would always be referring to this documentation all the time. Okay, so keep going through it, keep learning, and also anytime you need something, anytime you need a component, you just come back to the Bootstrap documentation and check it out, see what has already been done for you, what you need to customize and all, and then generally just have fun, build more stuff, make this portfolio site even better than it is now. Okay, because you can't be a great web developer without a great portfolio site. Okay, so if you're going to have a portfolio site, make it better, add some animations here and there, look into it. You already know about JavaScript, so that should be also very easy for you. So this has been it for the Bootstrap course. I'm really glad we did this, and I hope to see you in the next one. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe. Please subscribe to the channel, leave your comments, share this video with anyone that will need this video, that you think that will help. Okay, and then help us take this video to places, help us to take this channel to places, because we really want to help beginners that are starting out to find it very easy to enter the development space. Thank you very much once again. Bye bye.